What if Fives lived and exposed the truth about the inhibitor chips to the Jedi Council? That's our story for today, so let's dive in. Our story takes place on the lower levels of Coruscant. As Fives was trying to explain the inhibitor chip conspiracy to Anakin and Captain Rex, the Coruscant Guard entered the building as Fox had his sights on Fives. He did not hesitate to follow the orders of Chancellor Palpatine. Fox aimed his blaster and fired. Fives stumbled backward, clutching the wound in his shoulder. His chest heaved, his voice ragged with desperation as the Coruscant Guards raised their rifles for the kill. He had spoken the truth. He had revealed the shadow that haunted them all, and for it, he was to be silenced. But in that moment, fate shifted. A blue blur ignited in the room, followed by a few stun blasts. The snap-hiss sound of a lightsaber filled the air as Anakin Skywalker and Captain Rex freed themselves from the ray shield and places themselves in between Fives and the Coruscant Guards. "Hold your fire!" Anakin's voice thundered, his saber batting bolts aside in a blur of deflected energy. "Stand down!" Rex barked at his brothers, his voice torn between command and loyalty. "That's an order." The guards hesitated, weapons wavering. Their instincts told them to follow protocol, but Rex was their commander, and Skywalker was a Jedi general. In that hesitation, Anakin reached Fives, kneeling beside him. "Easy," Anakin said, voice firm but strangely gentle. "We've got you." Fives' eyes flickered with exhaustion, but his voice pressed on, determined. You have to listen to me. Something inside us. Chips, we're programmed." Rex's stomach sank. He had seen the wild desperation in Fives before, but now, up close, in the tremor of his brother's voice, it felt real. Anakin glanced to Rex, then back to the trooper. "We're not letting you die here." He hoisted Fives with the Force, guiding his weight onto Rex's shoulder. "We take him to the temple. The Chancellor doesn't need to know." Rex's brow furrowed. That meant treason, concealment from the Supreme Chancellor himself. But his loyalty to his men, his brother, was stronger. "Yes, sir," Rex responded. They moved swiftly through the night, cloaked in shadows. A gunship was requisitioned under false orders, its transponder scrubbed from the fleet's records. Anakin and Rex ferried Fives through the Coruscant skyline, the medical chambers of the Jedi Temple awaiting them in secret. The temple's halls whispered with silence when they landed. Master Shaak Ti, keeper of the temple's cloning knowledge, met them with furrowed brows. "Skywalker, Captain Rex, what is the meaning of this?" Anakin's jaw tightened. "We don't have time for politics. This clone knows something dangerous. He stays here under Jedi protection." Shaak Ti looked down at Fives, seeing the desperation in his eyes. She had sensed unease in Kamino, suspicions unspoken. "Bring him. But this will need the Council." As they rushed him into the medbay, Fives gripped Anakin's hand. His voice, though cracked, carried a fire that could not be extinguished. "You'll see, you'll all see. It's not me who's crazy, it's the whole war." The words haunted Anakin as he watched the medics stabilize him. He knew somehow that this clone's survival had shifted the Force itself. A storm was coming. The council chamber was cloaked in uneasy silence. The great windows overlooking Coruscant's skyline cast pale shafts of light across the curved seats, where the greatest Jedi of the age sat in wait. Yoda, Mace Windu, Plo Koon, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shaak Ti, Kit Fisto, Obi-Wan Kenobi, all gathered, their faces grave, their instincts telling them that what they were about to hear could shake the Republic itself. At the chamber's center stood Anakin Skywalker, arms folded, his expression taut with barely restrained impatience. Beside him, Captain Rex kept a steadying hand on the shoulder of Fives, whose injuries were freshly bandaged, his armor scorched and marked with blood. The clone's eyes scanned the room. Men and women revered as legends, guardians of the Republic itself. He was just a soldier, but today he carried the galaxy's truth on his tongue. "Speak, trooper," Mace Windu said, voice low but sharp. "Anakin tells us you carry urgent intelligence." Fives straightened, drawing on every ounce of courage he had left. "Masters, we clones were engineered to fight the Separatists, but there's something buried inside us, something none of us knew until now." He held up a small containment capsule. Inside, a preserved organic fragment, a chip. Shaak Ti's eyes narrowed. The biochips. Kaminoans claimed they were safety measures. "They lied," Fives said firmly, his voice trembling but strong. "I uncovered the truth after one of my brothers, Tup, murdered a Jedi during battle. He didn't want to. He wasn't in control. I dug deeper. These chips, They're programming a failsafe. When the time comes, they'll make us turn on the Jedi, all of us. The chamber rippled with unease. Obi-Wan leaned forward. You're saying the clones are sleeper agents? Yes, General. Five's throat tightened. We've been weapons this whole time, not just against the Separatists, against you. A cold silence fell. The implication was unbearable but undeniable. Plo Koon's modulated voice broke it. Do you have proof beyond your word? Fives glanced at Rex, who stepped forward with a datapad. We pulled scans from Five's medical procedure on Kamino. Records buried in the Kaminoan archives, and I've seen it myself. I believe him. He passed the pad to Shakti. She scanned the data, her eyes widening as she read encrypted orders buried within the clone's genetic code. Orders labeled with one phrase, Protocol 66. Shakti's voice trembled. By the Force, it's real. Murmurs erupted among the council. Ki-Adi-Mundi shook his head in disbelief. Kit Fisto's expression turned grim. Windu rose, his voice cutting through the chamber. This cannot be coincidence. If such programming exists, someone put it there. Someone with long-reaching influence over Kamino. All eyes turned slowly toward Anakin. He spoke the thought aloud, his voice heavy with dread. The Chancellor. Yoda closed his eyes, the Force whispering confirmation in shadows. Shroud of the dark side this is. Long have we sensed deceit. At its heart, the Supreme Chancellor may be. Obi-Wan shifted uncomfortably. Palpatine has been a staunch supporter of the Jedi for years, surely. No, Anakin interrupted, his tone fierce. It makes sense. He's been in control the entire war. He's always one step ahead. He's the only one who could have orchestrated this. The Council exchanged troubled glances. To accuse the leader of the Republic of being the architect of galactic war was unthinkable, but the evidence was undeniable. The Council chamber was heavy with silence after Five's revelation. Though the words had been spoken, though the truth had been laid bare in data and testimony, the weight of it sat like lead on the shoulders of every Jedi present. Mace Windu broke the silence first, voice like iron. We cannot take this to the Senate yet. Without Palpatine's mask torn away for all to see, they will dismiss us. Worse, they will turn on us. Shakti frowned. And with his influence, the Jedi Order would be branded traitors. He would have the Senate authorize our destruction. Anakin's temper bristled, his fists clenched tight at his sides. So what are you suggesting? That we wait until he activates these chips and turns every clone in the Republic against us? I'm not sitting still while he pulls the galaxy's strings. Calm yourself, Skywalker, Ki-Adi-Mundi said, though unease tinged even his voice. No, Anakin snapped, his voice echoing in the chamber. You've been suspicious for years. You all felt it. You knew there was something wrong. Now we finally have proof, and you want to stall. Windu's gaze was like a blade. We are not stalling. We are planning. Plo Koon leaned forward in his chair, calm but steady. Anakin is correct about one thing. If we delay too long, Palpatine will sense our knowledge and strike first. We must act swiftly but carefully. One misstep and we lose everything. Yoda closed his eyes, communing with the Force. When they opened, they burned with ancient sorrow. Trap him we must. Reveal his true nature we must. Or forever remain in darkness we will... Obi-Wan stroked his beard, troubled. The industrial sector could work. It's remote, its foundries long abandoned. We could seed false intelligence of separatist weapons caches. The Chancellor, ever so curious, will investigate. Mace Windu nodded slowly. And Dooku will not let his master move alone into danger. If they come together, we strike together. Kit Fisto, usually the most radio of them, was grim. We must prepare for casualties. If Palpatine truly is this Darth Sidious, he will not go quietly. Silence hung again until Shakti added, and the clones? If their chips are triggered, we may find ourselves fighting the very soldiers we command. All eyes turned to Rex and Fives. Rex squared his shoulders. I'll take command of the detachment. If the programming kicks in, I'll keep them under control, one way or another. Fives took a step forward, battered but resolute. Let me speak to them first. If they see me alive standing with you, it might break through the fog. They deserve the truth as much as you do. If we win this battle but lose their trust, the galaxy is lost anyway. Anakin glanced at him, admiration flickering in his eyes. For a man bred only to fight and die, Fives now stood with more courage than many Jedi. Yoda's Geimer stick tapped softly against the floor. Right you are. Soldiers of the Republic they are. Deserve freedom they do. A chance to choose. Give them we must. Windu straightened, his tone final. It is decided. We stage the ambush tomorrow night. The Jedi Council will confront Palpatine and Dooku. Skywalker, Kenobi, you will lead the strike teams. Rex, Fives, you will command the guard. The weight of destiny settled over the room. No one argued. That night, the temple bustled with silent purpose. In the underground hangars, Rex walked the lines of crimson-armored Coruscant Guard troopers, each one sharpening weapons and checking power cells. Their visors gleamed in the dim light. "Brothers," Rex called, voice firm. "Tomorrow we face a threat greater than the Separatists. I can't give you all the details, but I can promise you this. Fight with honor, fight with focus, and you'll understand. Trust me." Murmurs ran through the men. They trusted Rex, they always had, but their eyes drifted past him to the man at his side. Fives. He stood tall despite his injuries, his gaze hard as durasteel. "I know what you've heard about me," he said. "That I disobeyed, that I broke orders. Maybe some of you think I've lost it, but I'm telling you now, I uncovered something none of us were ever meant to know." He held up the small stasis capsule containing the inhibitor chip. "This is inside us, all of us, a program buried in our heads since birth. A program to make us kill the Jedi." A ripple of unease ran through the squad. "I'm not asking you to believe me," Fives continued, voice heavy with passion. "I'm asking you to fight beside me tomorrow. If you don't believe me, fine, judge me after the battle, but if I fall, if I fail. Remember my words, we're more than just soldiers, we're men, and we deserve the right to choose our own path." For a long moment, silence reigned. Then one trooper stepped forward, lowering his rifle. "You're my brother, Fives. If what you say is true, I'll follow." Others followed, one by one, until the entire company stood united. Rex felt pride well in his chest. Perhaps, just perhaps, they had a chance. In the war room, holographic schematics of the Foundry complex shimmered. Obi-Wan traced the corridors with his finger. "If we position masters at these choke points, we can separate Dooku from Palpatine, divide and overwhelm them." Windu shook his head. "Palpatine is too dangerous. We cannot leave him to one or two Jedi alone." Plo Koon spoke, his mask hissing softly. "Then we fight them together. The Council united." "Agreed," Yoda said, his ears twitching. "Divide us, the Sith always try. Together, their darkness cannot stand." Anakin's voice was low, fierce. "Then it ends tomorrow." The storm over Coruscant was merciless, thunder growling across the skyline as rain pelted the Durasteel canyons. Gunships descended in silence, their lights doused, delivering Jedi and troopers into the skeletal husks of the industrial sector. Jedi spread out among the towering smelters and conveyor belts, their cloaks soaked but their eyes sharp. The clones took positions on the high gantries, rifles aimed into the shadows. At the heart of the Foundry, beneath a broken skylight that let in the rain, Anakin, Rex and Fives waited. "This is it," Anakin muttered. His saber hilt was warm in his palm. Rex scanned the shadows, every nerve taut. "He'll come, he always does." Fives swallowed hard, his heart hammering in his chest. "I hope you're right." And then the low hum of engines. Two shuttles descended, their repulsors stirring sheets of rain. From one emerged Count Dooku, cape billowing, curved saber hilt in hand. From the other came Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. Gasps rippled through the clones. The Chancellor, here, in this wasteland. Palpatine stepped forward, his expression shifting between mock concern and cold amusement. "Masters of the Jedi Order," he called over the thunder, "what is the meaning of this treason?" Anakin ignited his saber, its blue blade snapping to life with fury. His voice rang out, "Drop the act. We know the truth, Sith Lord." Dooku's lip curled into a smirk as his blade ignited in a crimson-red light. "At last the charade is over." Palpatine's smile twisted, shadows seeming to cling to his face. His voice deepened, dripping with venom. "Yes, at long last." And from his hands, arcs of lightning flared, blinding in the storm. The trap had been sprung. The Foundry erupted into chaos. Lightning poured from Palpatine's fingers, tearing through Durasteel, scattering clones like ragdolls. Dooku's crimson blade hissed against Jedi sabers as he carved through the rain-soaked air, his laughter echoing in the storm. The ambush had become a battlefield. Mace Windu surged forward, his purple blade absorbing and reflecting bolts of lightning, driving Palpatine back. Yoda leapt into the fray, green saber spinning like a storm of light. Kit Fisto and Shakti flanked them, pressing the attack. Palpatine's mask fully slipped now, his face twisted with malice, his voice booming like thunder. "You are no match against the dark side." Arcs of lightning burst outward, striking gantries and detonating consoles. Clones scattered, some firing at Dooku, others stunned by the Chancellor's raw power. Above, Rex barked orders, keeping the Coruscant Guard from collapsing into panic. Fives fought alongside them, his blaster snapping precise bursts into the chaos, defiance burning in his eyes. On the far side of the chamber, Count Dooku moved with lethal grace, his blade cutting down strike after strike. Obi-Wan and Anakin pressed him hard, the two blades of blue hammering his defenses. "You've grown stronger, Skywalker," Dooku sneered, his cape whipping with every turn. "But strength without control is your undoing," Anakin snarled, pressing forward with raw fury, forcing Dooku back. Obi-Wan matched his rhythm, calm but relentless. Still, the Sith Lord was too skilled. With a sweep of his hand, Dooku hurled machinery into their path, splitting them apart. As Obi-Wan ducked beneath the debris, two more figures joined the fray, Plo Koon and Mace Windu separating Dooku from his master. Now the duel was even. Dooku's smirk faltered as the two sabers closed around him, striking in perfect coordination. Elsewhere, Sidious unleashed a shockwave of Force energy, hurling Jedi from their feet. Kit Fisto was flung against a support beam, his body limp. Shakti cried out, charging forward, only to be engulfed in a torrent of lightning that left her crumpled and still. Anakin felt it, rage flaring like a furnace. "No!" He charged at Sidious, his blue blade clashing with the Sith Lord's crimson. Their blades locked, sparks spraying as Sidious's twisted grin hovered inches from Anakin's furious glare. "You are wasted on them, Skywalker," Sidious hissed. "Join me and together I'll end you." Anakin roared, breaking the lock with a surge of strength that drove Sidious back. Meanwhile, Dooku was faltering. Plo Koon struck high, Mace Windu pressed low, Obi-Wan harried from the side. The Sith precision faltered under their combined might. "You fools!" Dooku spat, deflecting strike after strike. "Even if you kill me, the Sith will—" Mace's blade severed his defense, and with a final coordinated strike, Windu and Plo Koon cut him down. Dooku's eyes widened in shock as his blade clattered to the floor. He collapsed to his knees, cape pooling in the rain. With his final breath, he glared at Sidious. "Master, you promised—" And then he was gone. Sidious's fury exploded at Dooku's death. His scream echoed across the foundry, shaking durasteel beams. A storm of lightning erupted from his hands, engulfing Jedi and clones alike. Kit Fisto, already wounded, convulsed and fell. Shakti lay unmoving. Even Obi-Wan staggered beneath the torrent. The Jedi pressed in, but one by one they faltered under Sidious's raw power. Only Windu stood firm, his purple blade reflecting lightning back at the Sith Lord, step by step driving him toward the edge of the platform. "Your corruption ends tonight," Windu roared. Sidious's eyes blazed yellow. "Your precious Jedi Order will fall." The lightning intensified, spilling into the ranks of clones. Troopers cried out, some falling, some convulsing. Rex shielded Fives with his own body, gritting his teeth as sparks seared his armor. And in that instant, Fives made his choice. Through the chaos, through the storm, he saw the Chancellor, no, the Sith Lord, standing exposed. His brothers were dying, the Jedi were faltering. Fives raised his DC-17 blaster, hands steady despite the pain. His voice whispered through clenched teeth. "For the Republic!" The shot rang out, piercing the storm. A bolt of blue energy struck Sidious in the chest. His scream tore through the chamber, his lightning faltering. Windu pressed forward, his blade carving through Sidious's defenses, severing his saber arm. Another strike knocked him to his knees. The Sith Lord convulsed, snarling, his body crackling with dark energy. His gaze met Fives, hatred burning even as his strength failed. "I should have killed you myself!" Another shot fired. This time Sidious fell silent. His body crumpled, lightning flickering and dying in the storm. Darth Sidious, Chancellor Palpatine, was dead. The foundry was still. The storm outside raged on, but within silence reigned. The Jedi who remained standing, Windu, Yoda, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Plo Koon, looked upon the fallen Sith. Rex placed a hand on Fives' shoulder. The clone's chest rose and fell, his face pale but resolute. "It's over," Rex said quietly. But Anakin shook his head, his eyes scanning the wreckage, the bodies of fallen Jedi and clones alike. His voice was low, heavy with grim understanding. No, it's only just beginning. The galaxy held its breath. Word of Palpatine's death had not yet reached the galaxy, but Grievous knew. From the bridge of his massive flagship, the invisible hand, the cyborg general howled in fury, his mechanical talons scraping sparks from the deck. "The Sith are dead, then the galaxy will burn with me." His fractured voice echoed as he ordered every droid fleet to converge on Coruscant. Destroyers, cruisers, and swarms of droid starfighters poured out of hyperspace like a storm. For the Republic, there could be no retreat. This was the final stand. High above the city planet, the skies ignited with fire. Venator-class star destroyers formed a desperate shield wall, unleashing volleys of turbo laser fire into the endless waves of separatist warships. ARC-170 starfighters streaked through the chaos, weaving dogfights with vulture droids. From the command bridge of the Resolute, Obi-Wan Kenobi stood beside Admiral Yularen, his expression grim but resolute. Clones scrambled at their stations, the air vibrating with the thunder of distant cannon fire. "All ships," Yularen commanded, "hold the line, for the Republic." Obi-Wan rested a hand on the console. His voice was steady. "If we fall here, there is no Republic. This is where we make our stand." And with that, the Jedi General boarded his starfighter, launching into the fray. The battle raged across Coruscant's orbit. Dozens of warships exchanged fire, their hulls tearing apart under relentless barrages. Starfighters streaked between burning wreckage, explosions painting the void with fire. The Separatist flagship, the Invisible Hand, loomed like a shadow over the battlefield, its massive ion cannons crippling Republic vessels one by one. Inside, General Grievous stalked the bridge, his cloak billowing. "Press the attack, tear their fleet apart, leave nothing standing." His clawed hand tightened on the command chair. Rage pulsed through his fractured lungs. With Sidious gone, he would become the scourge of the galaxy, but the Republic would not yield. From the Resolute, Rex coordinated clone pilots as they swarmed Grievous's warship. Fives manned the gunner's seat in a Y-wing, blasting vulture droids from the sky with deadly precision. "Cutting it close, Captain," Fives shouted over comms as Rex barrel-rolled through enemy fire. "Stay on me," Rex growled. "We're not letting that monster leave alive." The Jedi too pressed the attack. Plo Koon's starfighters swept in from the flank, unleashing torpedoes into Separatist frigates. Anakin Skywalker's blade of a starfighter carved through the battlefield, destroying droid fighters with unmatched precision. And at the center of it all, Obi-Wan led the charge, his calm voice cutting through the comms. "Stay with me, Red Squadron. Our target is the flagship. We end this with Grievous." Amid the chaos, Obi-Wan's strike force pierced through the Separatist lines, hammering the Invisible Hand with concentrated fire. Torpedoes tore into its shields, breaching its armor. "Shields failing!" A droid screeched on the flagship's bridge. "Let them come!" Grievous hissed, his sabers clattering in anticipation. Obi-Wan's starfighter pierced the breach, skimming through hangar fire as clones followed in gunships. The Jedi leapt from his cockpit, igniting his saber, carving through waves of battle droids as the clones stormed behind him. In the chaos of battle, Grievous descended. 4 arms ignited 4 sabers, spinning in a cyclone of death. His mechanical roar echoed across the hangar. "General Kenobi!" Their blades clashed in a shower of sparks, Obi-Wan's blue saber straining against the furious storm of Grievous's strikes. The General's metallic claws screeched across the deck as he pressed forward, his rage inhuman, his power monstrous. The duel spilled across the flagship, sparks flying as sabers carved into steel. Obi-Wan fought with precision, dodging, countering, waiting for the moment. Finally it came. Grievous lunged with all 4 sabers in a whirlwind of fury. Obi-Wan sidestepped, seizing a blaster from a fallen clone. "Not this time!" He fired. The shot struck Grievous square in the chest, then another and another. Flames erupted from the General's shattered frame. His roar turned to a scream as fire consumed his body, and with one final shot, Obi-Wan blasted the cyborg backward into the reactor core. The explosion tore through the Invisible Hand, fire ripping from its decks as systems detonated one by one. Obi-Wan sprinted for the hangar as clones fell back, starfighters scrambling for escape. "Pull out!" Rex's voice barked over comms. "The flagship's going critical." From orbit, the Republic fleet watched as the Invisible Hand ruptured, its hull split open, fire pouring into space. The flagship exploded in a cataclysm of light, the shockwave rattling ships across the sector. The Separatist fleet faltered. Without their general, their command crumbled. One by one, droid warships fell silent, consumed by Republic fire. The battle was over. The wreckage of the Separatist fleet burned across Coruscant's skies. In the Senate, the surviving Jedi Council, Windu, Yoda, Plo Koon, and Obi-Wan, stood alongside Fives and Rex. The truth was laid bare. The Senate trembled as the evidence was revealed. The Sith had orchestrated the Clone Wars, manipulating the Republic and Separatists alike. Palpatine had been Darth Sidious. The inhibitor chips, proof of betrayal, were presented openly. Senators erupted in outrage, fear, and shame, but there was no denying the truth. The Sith were dead. The Clone Wars were over. The galaxy exhaled. Worlds scarred by war began to rebuild. The Jedi Order, diminished but unbroken, swore to guide the Republic back to peace, not as generals, but as guardians. Fives, once silenced and hunted, became the symbol of truth. His testimony ensured the clones were freed from suspicion, their loyalty restored to the people of the Republic. Anakin Skywalker, though scarred by battle, stood with Obi-Wan as a hero, not a fallen knight, but the Jedi he was meant to be. And in the quiet that followed the storm, as Coruscant's skies cleared from smoke, the galaxy looked forward. Not into the shadow of Sith tyranny, but into the fragile light of a new dawn. And that is how our story ends. Thank you for tuning in. And be sure to like and subscribe for more stories like this. Comment down below on what you thought of the story and what other what-if scenarios you would like to see. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.